Hey kids, it's Mrs. Fravel. How are ya? Really? That's crazy. Yeah, I'm fine. Hey, today we're going to talk about conservation status. In your Prezi project that I talked about in the last class, you guys are going to need to be able to tell me about the species that you highlight for each class and each phylum, what their conservation status is. So let's find out what that means, okay? Okay. Basically, it means how many of a species are left, and there are defined groups, okay? But let's talk about extinction first, and what is that? Extinction technically is the death of an entire species. It's declared when there are no remaining reproductively viable individuals of a species left. So there might still be some individuals remaining alive, but there's no way for them to continue their species, so that species is considered functionally extinct. There's one pretty famous example right now, the northern white rhino of Africa. The last male, his name was Sudan. He was very old. He was 45. Rhinos are hunted for their horns. They're hunted for trophy, and the white rhinos have been critically endangered for a very long time. Sudan was the last male, and he passed away in 2018. He and the other two remaining individuals have been kept in captivity to keep them safe. The only two left are females. There's really not a very good chance that they will be able to reproduce. So technically the white rhino is functionally extinct. And then another term you might hear me say or hear sometimes is extirpation. And extirpation is local extinction. So there might be a population of a species that is gone from its natural range in one area, but other populations still exist other places in the world. So we talk about that species being extirpated from a local habitat. And one example in America is the North American gray wolf. These used to be everywhere in North America, Canada, and the United States, and they were eradicated as pests and threats to livestock and humans in the early 1900s. Humans have a very long and troubled history with all wolves, and the gray wolf is now extirpated from the United States. There are still some populations of them in northern Canada, and there's one population, there's a couple populations in Montana. There's one that was reintroduced to the Yellowstone National Park, and they're doing great. But yeah, that they're extirpated from the United States for the most part. Okay, so extinct, functionally extinct, extirpated. What causes it? So lots of things can put pressure on a species and prevent them from reproducing enough to replace themselves, which essentially that's what happens. They just cannot survive long enough to reproduce and raise viable offspring to continue the species. Okay? And that can happen due to loss of habitat, overexploitation of limited resources. That means a food resource might disappear or it might be overeaten or used by a competing species, including humans. Overharvesting by humans, we eat animals. We eat them all the time. Loss of genetic diversity, that means as populations just maybe naturally get smaller, they lose their diversity in their genes, and that can cause health problems. It can cause extinction to occur. Environmental change, if you can't adapt to a changing environment, you go extinct. Co-extinction, that means if another species in your community, in your ecosystem goes extinct, you may have some challenges to finding food or other resources. And then introduction. Hi, it's Friday afternoon, you guys. This video might not go well. Introduction, I almost did it again. Introduction of invasive competitive species. So this is just one of several human-caused extinction factors. We like to bring in plants that don't belong somewhere. We like to bring in animals that don't belong somewhere because we like them. Don't ask me about European house sparrows or starlings, because I'll talk about that till you're sick of me for another day. I'll save that. Okay. Okay. So how does extinction happen naturally? Naturally, it is a natural event. Scientists believe that 99% of all living plant and animal species are extinct. That's going back to the ancient fossil record where we have seen, we found so many awesome fossils. You guys looked at the evolutionary record. You explored some ancient animals that are no longer around. It's a natural thing. Habitats change, climates change, and if you can't adapt, you go extinct. Okay. The natural background extinction rate this is a figure that I found in a really complicated article that I just read. It's 0.1 to 1 species per million species per year. As a nerd, I do listen to a lot of podcasts about animal extinction. I've heard the percentage of 5% per year is a basic background extinction rate. However, it's currently been hypothesized that we are in the middle of a mass extinction event, the 6th one on the planet. And it's calculated that just over the last 114 years, I don't know, the background rate has doubled. And this number coincides with the human industrial revolution and the expansion of the United States of America and colonial England's colonies. Okay, so we're seeing this doubled rate of extinction since we humans became really successful and started influencing more of the planet and more of the climate. Okay, so in the last 115 years, we've seen 468 more species go extinct than should have been, including 69 mammals, 80 bird species, 24 reptiles. Oh man, we are hammering on some frogs, you guys, and 158 species of fish. And how do we do that? We're just one species. I mean, come on. So we do a lot. The comforts that have provided us with a successful human society have taken a toll on the planet and the organisms that we share this planet with, including pollution and climate change. A lot of the products that we make, a lot of the chemistry that we do is toxic, and we release it into the atmosphere, we release it into waterways, we release it onto the ground. And it can cause some health problems and extinction. Warfare, man, we're mean. Exploitation of species, this is removing them from their natural habitat for our own use. Overpopulation of humans, we've invaded everybody else. There are too many of us. Unnatural rates of consumption, we use a lot of things. We have a lot of things, and a lot of those things come from natural resources like wood, which we get by cutting down forests, paper, also forests. We consume, we're consumers of everything, right? And then agriculture and urban sprawl removes habitat, and that's actually being looked at right now as one of the biggest drivers, right up there with climate change. All right, so how do we qualify and quantify conservation of species? There is an international organization called the IUCN, and they have defined population statuses. There are also a couple of more national, federal initiatives like the Endangered Species Act that puts into place protections for endangered and threatened animals. The IUCN Red List is what I would like you guys to work from, because the United States one is undergoing some changes. And so these are the categories of status for populations of species. Wow, you guys, I told you I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it through this video because it's Friday and it's 4 o'clock. Okay, you're worth it. Okay, so animal species can be categorized as least concern, near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, extinct in the wild, and extinct. Then there's also not evaluated or data deficient, which means that a species has not been scientifically censused. We don't know how many there are, or we don't know how many there's supposed to be. So there's also, you'll also see this when you're looking up some animals, because that's what you're gonna do. I would like you for today to tell me what those categories mean and find some examples. So your assignment is on Canvas, of course. Hang on. Let's work from Google. Here you go. Your assignment is conservation status. Of course, you'll click to open your own copy. Okay, so this is your worksheet. I would like you to read this article. It's a National Geographic article about endangered species, and on that you are going to use that to type a definition. You're not going to copy and paste a definition. You are going to write a definition in your own words for each of those conservation status categories. And then I would like you to find an example animal for each level. And here's how I would like you to do that. You'll come to the IUCN Red List. Okay. Let me show you how to use this website really quickly. So this is a web page where they have conglomerated pretty much every evaluated species, every species that we know of, really, for their conservation and population levels. Okay, so I mean, I don't know, you guys know me, you know I'm a super uber animal nerd. I sit and read this website all of the time just to look at, you guys look at that lemur. Look how cute he is. Oh, what is that, Sola? What a cute little deer. Oh man. Oh, look at this guy. A mouse lemur. You guys, they're tiny. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, so how you're going to use this website for your assignment, and then you can go back and just play around on it and look at all the awesome animals. Okay. You're going to scroll down and read all of the depressing things. And at the bottom, you're going to look for this, the IUCN Red List categories and criteria. So these will take you to a list of animals that are defined in each category. So it starts with data deficient, and here is a scroll bar right here. You can scroll, sure you can. You can scroll to get to each category, okay? And essentially what you'll do for each category is you will click into it and it will show you all of the species that have been evaluated at that level. So this is the endangered level, and I would like you to choose an animal. Make sure you're not choosing a plant. That will tick me off because we're in zoology, not botany. So make sure it's an animal. You'll know it's an animal because it will say Animalia. That's the kingdom. Plantae is plants. Okay, so pick one of these guys. Okay, and you're going to tell me its common name and scientific name. I will add that in here. Okay. So I have, the Sao Tome giant reed frog is an endangered species, Hyperoleus thamensis. Put that in. Second part, you're going to then search for these species that I've given you, and I would like to have you practice your conservation status and habitat and range acquisition. So these are the things that I'm going to have you be adding onto your Prezi. For each animal group that we study, you need to find an example species of that class in each phylum. So you're going to need to tell me its conservation status and its habitat and range. So I would like you to search these guys and tell me what that means, and here's how you will know. I'm just going to pick a rando. Oh, there's so many. You guys, how do I pick an animal? Oh. Green sea turtles, you guys, they are endangered. So on this little scale, the particular animal that you're looking at, its level will be a big drop. Okay, so green turtles, Chelonia mitis, these are endangered. So I will put that on the table if I were searching up this animal. And then for its habitat, look at that. They tell you its habitat over here, and then you'll see a map that will have its range. And sometimes its range is really narrow, and so sometimes when you look up the animals, it will have the map zoomed all the way in with a little tiny range on it. And if you don't know where that is, you can scroll out. Oh, it's Africa. Okay. East African Ocean. Green sea turtles should be everywhere. They should be everywhere in the tropical seas and temperate seas. They are not anymore. Okay. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and go check my office hours on the homepage. I'll have a Google Meet open during office hours. You can always come chat to me. I miss your faces, so yeah. All right, that's all I have. So be safe, be good, wear your masks, okay? Okay, talk to you soon.